How you doing out there in cyberspace? This is John Wayne Mercure, the Sonneteer, in beautiful Chandler, Arizona, telling you, hey, I write sonnets, and I like to do that. It's my hobby. The videos are my hobby, and it's just so much fun. I hope you do that. I hope you make videos, because I'd like to see some of yours. It's out there in cyberspace forever. And I remember my mother, and I write sonnets about my mother because she was always so happy. She was always telling me, you have to, anybody can be sad. You got to fight to be happy. She said, hey, there's a song, and this is sonnet number 1078. I never promised you a rose garden. And my mom used to say, hey, there's a lot of thorns out there. That's how the rose is protected, is by the thorns, the sweet things of life. Well, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden is a great song by the genius Joe South. Most people haven't heard of Joe South, but he wrote this song. He wrote an anthem for many singers, because a lot of people have sung I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Chris Christopherson, for one, great singer, great actor. Skeeter Davis, I like that name, Skeeter Davis. Lynn Anderson, great vocalists, have sung that song, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. My mom used to sing it. Talent is personified in that song. The lyrics, they're beautiful. It's a spectacular song sent from the muses to tell us the truth. Listen to Skeeter when she's singing that song, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Everybody expects life to be all roses every day, all the time. Well, see rainfall come down, drowning all our hopes, sinking all our dreams. Lush foliage cannot grow without rainfall. Droughts are a crime because it happens. Bad things, too much water, not enough water. Everything that's bad happening to you, crushing your unrealistic expectations because you thought everything was going to be roses. You have to abandon your foolish schemes. My beloved mother, St. Julia, how do you even live up to a mother that's a saint? Now, I have a daughter that's a saint too, and my mother, St. Julia, loved that song, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. She said even the most beautiful roses have real sharp thorns. Still waters do indeed run deep. It's not just the beauty of the roses. You better know how to swim. In life, it's going to be thorns. Will you swim or will you drown? Pollyannas, everything is just dandy. They hate to frown and admit that bad things can happen. Young people are told everyone gets a trophy. You're brave just to compete, that you participated, and that makes the trophies worthless. You're killing people's ambition to excel. Little kids, they're stung by reality. When reality hits them, they're swimming in negativity. They're thinking, the world owes me a living, and it doesn't. The negativity that's there, expecting them to live off of their daddy forever, they bow to defeat when they don't understand, hey, life isn't a rose garden. You have to work. You have to work. They're taught, little kids, they're taught to be blindly optimistic. Everything is rose garden. Well, real life demolishes the weak. The weak drown. Distraught adult infants, they're all sad. They're drowning. They're whining. They're unable to even speak. The water of life is ice cold. The brutal shock takes your breath away. Slaughtered goals, vanquished ideals, precious lives to slay because they don't understand. You're going to perish if you can't adapt. Dreamers, unwilling to work, unwilling to sweat. Poor babies. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. They're actors in their own fairy tales. Always a happy ending. Unearned money. Everything's going to be paid for by the government because that's what socialism is. And we all want to have money coming in, unearned checks, free money. Surely somebody must pay the rent for me. They've got to pay my mortgage. They must buy me needed food. Desperately hard is the truth growing up, facing harsh adult responsibilities. Adults expecting someone to change their diapers, to wipe their nose, wipe their little runny nose. These people that exult in mooching off of everyone. The leech always loses They have enough there just to get by, but that's all. And they're not willing to stand up and use their talents and earn a check. The simple lyrics of that song, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, are pregnant with profound meaning, so important. Of course life is not a rose garden. The actual truth told in a tune, a melody. That tune, the melody just lingers through the air, and you keep thinking about that. Joe South, the writer, he sent us that song. We are promised the moon in this world and pots of gold, or so we are told. Well, destiny rules, fate dictates. Adult infants, they grow up and they're so old now with no skills. Well, I always liked the Rose Garden's philosophy. Face up to reality. Why does anyone want to mooch off of anyone? That is insanity. Cry me a river. In a republic, everybody stands on their own. Free women, free men, gentlemen, righteousness. Everyone works for society in a republic. What I'm saying is right now, I wrote this sonnet about I Never Promised You a Rose Garden because it's beautiful. Despite everything, despite all the thorns, despite all you say bad things, life is so beautiful. You look around and see the glory of God. Behold the beauty of the Lord, what he's done for us. And I'm telling you what, we're so blessed, and all we do is cry, oh, it could be so much worse. Well, I'm telling you, in the newspaper today, they said in Zimbabwe, there's 4 million people starving. How the hell does that happen? The United Nations should have a council meeting to say we got to get food to these people. And they said it's all political. Well, they still are starving. And I'm just telling you, it's today. This is December the 7th, 2019. And there's little kids and women and adults. They're starving to death in Zimbabwe. That's got to stop. And the United Nations, I'm sick of the United Nations not doing anything. The United Nations should establish peace in the Middle East. They're the ones that created Israel in the first place. All that trouble there, the United Nations should be the police force in Israel and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. Why? Because they started it. They made Israel as a 1948 as a nation. And they're responsible, the United Nations. And here's 4 million people in Zimbabwe starving. And I'm asking you out there in cyberspace, please, I'm begging you on my knees. I'm an old man, all right? But these people, it bothers me that they're starving to death. Please get the United Nations to do something. I'm begging you again. Thanks for listening. John Wayne Mercure, the Sonneteer. Inch'Allah, pour vous, mes amis. Au revoir.